If you guys want to learn how to build this insane wool farm, please keep watching. This is maybe a few minutes of the machine running, and this is the crazy output that we've already got, so yeah, stick with this channel, guys. We're going to teach you how to build this crazy wool farm. So first, you're going to want to build 9 blocks up like this, so we have enough room for the mechanics that we'll put under it. Next, you'll want to build a grid pattern like this. Of course, you don't have to use white concrete. You can use whatever building block you choose, but make sure that it is 16 3x3 grass chunks, and each of these chunks will be for sheep of each color that you can have. And then of course the borders are there and the fences are there. The fences are there to keep the sheep in. So going on to the next thing, which is the hardest part, admittedly is the hardest part, is of course getting the sheep into these little crates. So what we're going to want to do is make a little temporary breeding area off to the side. And of course you don't have to follow this exactly, but so of course you'll want to be leading your sheep up a staircase to this temporary breeding area. You're going to have to breed enough sheep for them to be preferably 2 in each of these capsules. So I'll show you what that looks like. Of course, this will take a while in survival. So this is probably what it'll look like. Of course, if you want to have more of one specific color because you're making a build with a lot of that color, like if you're making a big red build like that, you're going to want a lot of extra red. But as you can see, this is what it will pretty much look like. And after you have all your sheep safely in, you can of course get rid of your temporary little loading area. Great, so now that you have your sheep in, you're going to have to, of course, build a little bit up to get under the farm. But what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to put a line that goes through all of the middles of these, and this is where our hopper minecarts will work. And as you can see, this doesn't really have to be particularly fancy or wired up in any way. Particularly, just make sure it's, of course, powered as much as it would need to be to get the minecart around and collect all of the droppings. And if you know a lot about Minecraft mechanics, you might be asking how this collects through the dirt and grass. And interestingly, it's actually because of a tick-based exploit added in 1.16. And you're probably thinking, well, I've tried to do that before. If you're someone who's tried to do that before, you've probably thought, I've tried to do that before, but actually it's different now. And you can take my word for that. So now all we have to do is place our minecart hopper, and our farm is basically done from there. But if you really want this thing to get into the ranges that are advertised on the thumbnail of this video, we're gonna need to add some tick-based wool exploiters, or TBWEs. So how you can do that is, first of all, we're going to need a base block. Now, what a base block is, or BASE block is something that is directional but also linked to a past exploit. So you might remember from the PS3 update from a very long time ago, it's actually pretty nostalgic to me, but you could duplicate sources of water by using birch logs, and it was very directional. So what we're going to want to do is put all of our wiring for a certain system. Like if you want to do, say, a tick router or just any sort of router, you'd want to use your first base block for that. So I'll create a quick, I'll do a fence changing system. And you're going to need 3 of these base blocks along with their own 3 adapting systems to make this farm as efficient as you want it to be. So I'll just make a quick pulse oximity extender with, of course, our base block. And you can follow along. I will speed this part up because I'm sure not many people want to watch me do this, but you can slow it down if you want to see how I did this particular building. So I ended up just making a base reticking system there, which I'll post a video on shortly after posting this one on if you want to make something like this. Basically what this is going to do is going to use overextending exploits to feed the sheep this wheat more efficiently, and luckily enough that is future-proof, if you were wondering. So that is a future-proof bug, and it's also a tick exploit, and it's kid-friendly too, and it's server-friendly. So now if you've been skipping through the video, stop right now, because I need to show you how to do something, and this is necessary for all efficiency in this system. So, and this does not matter what 3 base pieces of tech that you're using. You're going to need to make an arrow chamber, and I'll teach you how to do that really quickly. So you're going to want to build somewhere open under our farm and put 2 dispensers facing onto a building block. And then of course, if you want to make it look slick and keep it open, of course we all love to look at our own buildings. You can do that if you'd like, but what we're gonna do here is basically make a little arrow reservoir stockpiling system. That will keep our arrows right next to the collector hopper, which is actually perfect for our situation. Of course, if you didn't put that in an area next to the hopper collector, that's okay, but it will be just a bit less efficient. I think it will be 5 ticks less efficient specifically. I might be wrong on that. Feel free to fact check me in the comments, but I believe that's the case for that. And then all we need to do is of course keep this part stocked, and sadly this is the reason why this farm is not fully self-sustainable, is because you will need to stock it with arrows. I mean, you could add a skeleton farm off to the side or connect a skeleton farm, and maybe I can do some additions that will do that, but yeah, you're just going to need to stock these dispensers with arrows. So now that our endervar is connected, we can build our last 2 pieces of base tech. So I'll show you guys some other base items that you can use. I believe if you use light blue banners and you connect them to, what is it? You need to use chains, because that was the false base connector from Caps Lock Live, or whatever it was called, I don't remember exactly, but specifically because of an ID glitch, ID swapping scenario, or a wraparound scenario rather. If you take a banner and using a chain to connect it to a fletching table, it will use villagers tick-based ID to duplicate circuits. So I'll make a quick V-tape door that will essentially make all of the sheep have a fun, awesome time. So if you'll just follow me, you can slow down the video if you want to build this exact one. You guys ever just hear a noise and you're just... After that, we just need to build the last base contraption, which will cap off all of the efficiency standards. For this, I'm going to be using a net Viacom obsidian obsidian sheep allower. That's kind of a mouthful, but it's essentially just a nether ender builder fun. And what you want to do is build something that kind of is like a nether portal, but is a little bit off. It could be off in any way, some way that you can walk by and just kind of be like, that might be a nether portal, but it's just a little off. Does that person know what the regular shape of a nether portal is? That's how you know you've built a sheep-based nether better funny bud. So what you're going to want to do is put some soul soil behind here and make a little enclosing. Of course, we're going to need to wire that up to make a tick farm, which of course is a common theme on this channel, I'm sure you're noticing. But we're just going to connect that up and do a quick little bit sorter here, which is sort of a new thing that we've explored in at least my team, the Dantum team. Something new that we've sort of explored. There's a lot of ways to make these, and we have them all on the document, which of course can be found in the description. But of course, if you have any wiring that pseudo connects to a chest and it's near a tick reporter, all of the reports that it sends to whatever you're sending it to will also be sent to the chest when the requests are sent. So if you put something that will be an input, like a skulk sensor, and if you want it to work at double time, you can put a composter too. And the more you put in the composter, it will work. So, of course, connect it. And that is a very simple base machine that you can make. So finally, we of course will need to make our item collection system. Of course, we have our hopper minecarts running around down here. We will simply need to make a connection to a chest. Of course, if you get your output chest to be, since this is off the ground, we can just have some down here. And after we've created our connection, as you can see, already filtering in, you know, you love to see it. It's already being sorted, as you can see too, which I'm surprised about. What is that from? I think that's from the nether base portal, but anyway, as you can see, and that's great that we're already getting off-topic blocks. Off-topic blocks is what you love to see with base systems. That means that the code is essentially working double overtime to try to fix these errors that you're creating at such crazy rates, and it is literally messing up in a very human way rather than a programmatic way. It's messing up as if it were AI, and that's what we really want to get to. When we're breaking it down to AI, that's how you know your farm is going to be maximum efficient and future-proof and past-proof. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. This, of course, is modular. And if you want to see more crazy builds, please leave your comments in the description and subscribe in the thank you for watching.